What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of J&B Unsupervised. If you guys don't know, this is episode 42. That's crazy. That's crazy. But we're going to jump right into it. We got a lot of action to talk about. We're going to start right off the rip with college football, AP Top 25. Our top 5, Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Indiana. And right off the rip, we need to talk about Indiana. Indiana is 10-0 overall, 7-0 at home, 3-0 on the road. Now, a lot of people have a problem with Indiana at number 5. Everyone says the reason Indiana shouldn't be number 5 is who have they beat? They haven't played nobody, and what are your thoughts on them not playing nobody? I mean, they played Michigan. They beat them by 5. I mean, that is the defending so-called champs.
Yeah.
They do play Ohio State on the 23rd. So that's going to be a real fucking testament for Indiana. But, I mean, they've played Michigan State, Washington. Washington was in the national championship last year. Washington ain't no slouch. Nebraska, Patrick Mahomes wannabe, Northwestern, Maryland, Charlotte, Western Illinois, UCLA, FIU, Purdue, Illinois, again, Michigan State.
So, I mean, as you were seeing, they really haven't played maybe necessarily a powerhouse, but you could only play what's in your conference and how your schedule lays out.
I guess
the big the big barometer will be when they play
Ohio State.
Who is 9-1
now,
and they're ranked second in the nation.
We obviously know that Indiana is undefeated. They're ranked number 5.
Yeah.
Say they go in.
Though.
Yeah, respectfully. Say that they lose to Ohio State, right? But they lose by like a field goal. Mm-hmm. Do you think that hurts them? Or does like Indiana have no choice but to win this fucking game to gain the respect of the college football world?
I think it'd still be hard to keep. If you're asking if they still make the playoffs as a one-loss team, I still think it'd be hard to keep them out as a one-loss team versus, the Tennessees and the Ole Misses that are 8-2, or even Notre Dame if they would drop another one, because Notre Dame, as we all know, they're not in a conference, so they don't have the conference championship game to get that bid. So if Notre Dame would drop one, or Ole Miss, Tennessee having 2 losses, even though those losses aren't technically bad losses, but if Indiana gives a great run and they just lose by a field goal or it's close, it'd still be hard to drop them out of the 12 playoffs altogether after just one.
Okay, so we obviously hear that how, again, keeping kind of on the Indiana status, people bitch about they haven't played nobody. Yeah. But let's talk about the number 1 ranked team in college football, Oregon. They started the season off, they barely beat Boise State. I mean, but Boise State was on their ass. They played Oregon State, okay? UCLA, Michigan State. They barely beat Ohio State by 1, 32-31. Then they played Purdue, Illinois. That was ranked, but no contest. No. Michigan, Maryland, and they barely beat Wisconsin. They got lucky to escape the Wisconsin game. Yeah. Next up, they have Washington. So you can say the same thing about Oregon. Really, they obviously they've played Ohio State, obviously respectfully, but it's like, come on now,
so again, it's kind of like the same barometer. Oregon, they beat. Now we're fast forward into this, this week in the season where we're at in the season. Boise State, that is at 12.
Yes, they are in the college football playoffs. If they started right now, let's clarify.
They're 12th in the power rankings, and that's Oregon's probably best win. Their best win is obviously Ohio State and then Boise State, and Indiana doesn't really have
that
currently a team that's actually performed well. But if Indiana beats Ohio State, that means Ohio State has lost to Oregon, the number 1 team, and then the number 5 team.
It would really be tough to keep Ohio State in there.
Ohio State, you could see
potentially dropping.
They
would definitely drop. I think if Ohio State loses this game, they're definitely going to be behind Tennessee.
Yeah, I think.
Regardless of how it shakes up, they'll be granted. You got the other teams if they win or lose or whatever, but they would drop theoretically somewhere in that
2 range for sure.
Yeah.
Honestly, if Ohio State would lose to Indiana, who people aren't giving any credit to, based off their schedule, which rightfully so, then you can't help who you play.
You play who you play, though. But you got to show up.
But if Ohio State would lose, if Ohio State even loses by a field goal, they fall to probably close to 10.
Yeah,
And they're fighting for their lives and probably need maybe a little bit of help to actually make the playoffs.
Well, let's see. Ohio State, they have Indiana and then Michigan left.
And Michigan is not.
Michigan's not Michigan. But, like, you go to Ohio, like, I mean, let's see. I mean, the Purdue, Penn State got really barely through there. Some of their games have been kind of close in some areas. I mean, they lost to we're a little far back, but yeah, I mean, when you look at, they barely got through Nebraska. That was close. Barely got through Penn State, and then bounced back. So it's going to be interesting.
But Penn State is 4th in the nation, so it's not again like Penn State's having a great year as well.
I mean, when you look at Penn State. I mean, let's see. They got through UMass. That was last year. Sorry, let me get to. There we go. So they started off against West Virginia, Bowling Green, Kent State, Illinois, UCLA, USC. They barely got through USC. That was in overtime. And then Wisconsin obviously lost to Ohio State by a tutty.
So it really just kind of shows that
it doesn't really matter who you are. Nobody really.
It doesn't necessarily matter who you necessarily play.
Like you can pull up Alabama. Alabama played a bunch of nobodies as well.
Nobodies, but you see, Penn State didn't really play a whole
lot. But see, think about that. They use that same notion for like Indiana, like they didn't play nobody. And then you look at like Alabama, Georgia, Texas, but I'm like, they didn't really play nobody, but they want to penalize Boise State. Like, Boise State can't, you go in and you dominate who you dominate. And they are.
They are to an extent to a degree. They're Boise State's still winning. And
Boise State, they have Wyoming and Oregon State. And I don't see any losses there.
No.
In their final 2 games. Not a chance. Boise State going to run through them boys with Ashton Jeanty. But another team that we need to talk about that is on a roll right now, Colorado, ranked 16th.
Yeah.
They're on a 4-game win streak. They have our Kansas Jayhawks up next, who have beaten 2 ranked teams the last 2 weeks.
All right.
So if Colorado again, I'm a little torn for this game because it's our Jayhawks, but it's I'm rooting for Dion at the same time. So I'm I don't know. And then they got Oklahoma State. So Colorado's going to have to be ready for Kansas because Kansas has played good football over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Don't know where that football's been the whole fucking entire year, but. Yeah, Colorado, they have a legit chance to be in the college football playoff. If they win out, Big 12 championship.
If they win the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, they have
the automatic bid.
But if the playoffs started right now, SMU and Tennessee would be the odd 2 out if they started right now. So go for it.
College football playoffs, based off of their website.
That's crazy.
Would be the 4
that were already through.
The 4 that already get through because they get the automatic bid would be Oregon, who's the number 1 ranked, would be number 1. Texas would be 2.
And they are ranked 3.
Miami would be 3.
And they're ranked 11.
8. And Boise State would be ranked 4th, and they're ranked 12th. Now, based off of that, give you a little insight. So, Oregon, highest ranked conference champion out of the Big Ten, seeded 1. And then Texas, second highest ranked conference champion, SEC, and seeded 2nd. Miami, third highest ranked conference champion, would be seeded 3rd. Boise State, which is the 4th highest ranked conference champion out of the Mountain West, would be seeded 4th. So if you win your conference, you get the automatic bid, and they rank, kind of your conference and your strength based off of that. But so they'd get a first round bye. Moving out of that, so Oregon, out of their bye, would either face Bama, Bama would get the 9 seed, but nationally they're 7. Would face Notre Dame at 8, who's ranked 6th. Boise then would get the winner of BYU, would be 12th, which is crazy to think BYU would get in here, but they're ranked 14th nationally. And Ohio State is 5th in the playoffs, but they're 2nd nationally. Jumping across, Texas gets the bye week, and they would either face Indiana, who's 5th nationally, but 7th, or Ole Miss, which is 10th ranked, but 9th nationally. Miami, we get the bye week, which will face the winner of Georgia, who is 11th but 10th nationally, or Penn State, who is 4th nationally, but would be 6th in the playoffs.
That's if the playoffs started right now. Like, obviously, at this moment.
Projected.
Yeah. So
it's just kind of crazy to think that the BYU is the 5th highest ranked conference out of the Big 12. So they have BYU projected to end up winning the Big 12 over Colorado. Thoughts?
Yeah. That's I don't. They got BYU. Let's see BYU's final 2 opponents. All right, BYU's got Arizona State. They're ranked 21st, and then Houston. Like, I mean, they're coming off a bad loss to Kansas, our Jayhawks, and they're going to rank 21st Arizona State. Like, I mean, you lose that game, you're out. Like, you're not getting back in.
I'm pretty sure they would have to face, like, you know how the SEC has the West and the East. They're projecting BYU. A lot of this is projecting that the teams will win. Like, a lot of people do believe that, you know, like Boise State, for instance, is going to win the Mountain West.
Yep.
And that Miami is going to win the ACC.
I really hope.
Crazy to me, they have Texas to beat Georgia. Just say Georgia and Texas are on opposite ends.
Yeah.
They have Texas beating potentially Georgia in the SEC National Championship.
Yeah, that's a little wild. That's
kind of crazy. And the Notre Dame, without they're independent, so they don't have an automatic bid.
Well, again, we go back to
large bid.
When you look at the top 5. Okay, Oregon, they have a higher power. You trust Oregon, right?
Yeah.
Like, you trust Ohio State.
Yeah.
You trust Texas. But then you get to 4 and 5. And then we're not disrespecting Indiana, but it's like, can you trust them to not get blown out by like a Bama, a Georgia?
Because that's not the powerhouses that we're used to.
Yeah.
But Bama's not the Bama of past.
No.
And Georgia, for whatever reason, has faltered. But, I mean, again, they did lose to, you know, Bama in a very close game. I mean,
but obviously, you know who's in the playoffs. And one of the teams that we want to see in there is in there, Boise State. We hope they stay in there.
Because I'm not a fan of the 12 team format. But I think will make a lot of people upset once they realize the 12th team in the nation
does not get in.
The Boise State, the 12th team in the nation, they get a bye week.
Yes.
Versus, you know, the number 4
Well, I think a lot of people got confused that it's 1 through 12. No, like that
power rankings.
Yeah, just because you're ranked 1 through 12 doesn't mean you're in the play. There's other things like conferences, how you did, that's going to be a consideration. But I hope Boise State gets in. I would love to see Colorado. 2 teams I want to give a quick shout out in college football. Clemson, Debo, 8-2. It was a bad year. He finally feels like, maybe he finally got a little bit more with the program.
Yeah.
Army, dude. Shout out to Army. They're ranked 18th.
Yeah.
9-0.
About to drop some nasty-ass unis, too.
The Navy dropped some nasty ones as well. So, but all in all, we're right here to the college football playoffs. And it's about to start to get spicy. Mm-hmm. Because it's do or die. Some of these teams, you can't afford to lose. Yep. It is do or die for your playoff hopes. And, again, Brandon and I kind of agree. We're not a fan of the 12 because it's just it's a money grab, which we understand. We get it. But someone's still going to get left out and someone's still going to cry. It is what it is.
You're going to have potentially Texas A&M, SMU, I think,
or Tennessee and SMU would be the first 2 out if the playoffs started right now. Yeah, SMU, second team out of the college football playoffs, and then Tennessee.
Right here.
Tennessee would be the first team out of the college football. So think about that. Tennessee in the rankings is ranked 10th. SMU is ranked 13th, and they're the first 2 teams out. So,
it's funny because Texas and SMU ranked 11th and 12th in the committee's rankings are the first 2 out, as number 14 BYU is automatically as the 5th highest ranked conference champion. So, like I said, you win your division or you win your conference championship game, you get the automatic bid, which I do like. It works the same way with the March Madness.
Yes.
Your conference tournament, you get an automatic bid.
Yep. But staying on college football, we got to talk about the Heisman race. And I think we're both in agreement. Brandon's getting the stats pulled up on both these guys. We believe it's a two-man race. Yeah. And to be honest, I say like him, we have a shared Heisman trophy because it's hard to choose one or the other. But again, I agree with what Brandon and I talked about earlier. There's really not a wrong answer personally. The Heisman race is heating up. We believe it's between two candidates. Yeah. Ashton Jeanty, running back, Boise State. Mm-hmm. And Travis Hunter, wide receiver / cornerback, Colorado Buffaloes.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna turn this over to you. Let's go for it.
So, yeah, as everybody knows, Travis Hunter is a two-way player.
Yes.
And that's where he's getting a lot of his steam from is because he's like, I play both sides, and I'm dominant on both sides, and you have Ashton Jeanty who's carrying the ball.
He's in the conversation with a legend, a great Barry Sanders. So,
which is in all rights, definitely well worth it considering when you look at Ashton Jeanty's stats, he has 256 carries for 1,893 yards, 26 tutties, averaging 7.4 yards a carry. Like, you know how hard. I
say, can you say those numbers for me one more time? Say them for me one more time, please.
256 carries. He's 5'9", 215 pounds, guys.
Soaking wet.
That's pads and all. 256 carries. He's damn near 1,900 yards, 26 touchdowns, averaging 7.4 yards a carry.
I just need people to understand how crazy those numbers are. Because this is the case for Ashton Jeanty. When you compare his numbers to the Reggie Bushes, the Mark Ingrams, the Derrick Henrys, his numbers are better.
Yeah.
And he's done it in less carries.
Yeah.
And he's averaging more yards per carry.
Which is crazy.
He
is Boise State's offense. Now that's why, unfortunately, they would be, as we were talking about in the playoffs, they'd be the 4th seed, and teams are going to take away the run game. Those teams are going to be able to shut him down, or maybe not, and he'll be able to surprise everybody. That's his stats. Going in with 2 weeks left, two
games left, and he's damn near getting anywhere between 20 and 30 attempts, damn near really a game. He's getting touches. Even in their last game that Boise State played. Let me pull it up real quick. Boise State played the Nevada game on November 9th. He got up to a slow start, but they didn't go away from him. They kept him going. Then he got going. Same thing against the game against SJSU. He got up to a slow start, and then boom, second half took off. People got to understand the commitment. Yes, his offensive line may not be the greatest, but the dude is they're not tackling him. He's bouncing off people. He's making you look silly. What? And Brandon just gave you his height. He's 5'9", barely 200 pounds soaking wet with pads on. This dude what he is doing this year is crazy. And he didn't chase the money. He stayed committed and saw it through with Boise State. And he's got Boise State ranked 12th in the fucking nation. So put some respect on his name. Now, do I think if he went to the NFL, he's going to do this? Probably not, because it's hard to do this at the next level. Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey are the two top running backs in the next league, and they don't even get carries like this.
You won't see anything like this in the NFL by no means.
It's hard to see shit like this.
It's funny.
But put some respect on his name, please.
And I think he doesn't get enough respect.
No, he gets
in my opinion, he really doesn't, because there's still grown men out there, quote unquote, in the same level of. This
is still Division I football, goddammit. I don't care how way you slice it, my man.
So there's that for Ashton Jeanty, who is
on a scale of 1 to 10. What do you give his Heisman Trophy? Winning on a scale of 1 through 10, or a percentage of 100% to 0.
I would say if he finishes out the year strong and they don't lose, I would give it out of 10, 8. I think 1 out of 10. I think it's an 8. I think it's a very strong case if he finishes the season strong. He doesn't get. He's been a little danged up, but he's played through it.
Yeah.
But if they finish and they get the number 4 seed, in the college playoffs, that's going to be kind of hard to ignore.
Especially getting the bye week.
Boise State to the even if they get bounced in the playoffs,
you still got them there.
But you still got the number 4 seed, while Colorado isn't technically even being considered yet. I mean, I think we both agree that Colorado probably will get there, but
we would love to see them there. I think those are the two teams we want to see.
Well, I think
Boise State and Colorado.
Really wants them there just for the money, Deion, Travis, and Shadur. But Travis Hunter, to me, it's a little tricky. So he's a two-way player. Offensively, 74 catches, 911 yards, 9 touchdowns, averaging about 12 yards
a catch,
which is a big play threat. I mean, because there's guys in the NFL that aren't averaging 12 yards a catch.
No.
It's a lot, kind of shorter than that, because that's what he gets offensively. But defensively, again, he's a corner. Like Deion says, if a corner has a lot of tackles, that means you're giving up catches. Yeah. And that's no bueno. So this year, for Colorado, he has a total of 23 tackles, 16 solos, 7 assists. He has 8 pass breakups, 1 fumble recovery, and 3 picks. But that's about what he averages.
And the snap count's damn near about. Well, we're going to round up about 600 on each side of the ball, near.
So he plays about equal on both sides. He doesn't take very many plays off on either side. So again, that's crazy.
What you see him doing in college football, it's been a long time since you've seen it. You have to go back to the 90s, Champ Bailey and them boys and them back then.
Yeah.
But again, the conversation now is Travis Hunter is at the next level. Everyone's like, he can't do it at the next level. Now, Prime will tell you he can. Travis will tell you he can. We will sit here and tell you you'll be limited. Yeah. Can you do it? Yes. But not at the rate you're doing it in college. It'll be selected plays in the National Football League. Crucial, third down in a game that you need to get picked up. Maybe I need you in at wide receiver in the slot. Or whatever. On defense, we need this stop. I'm going to have you in there. It's going to be selective. He will not be playing both sides of the ball like this in the National Football League. It's a different game. And I think people really, and Prime knows this, but again, he's not going to go against his player. I respect that. You're going to gas him up. He's going to be a top pick in the draft. But you guys got to understand, college and an NFL, completely different. It is a completely different game.
Well, in the NFL, it's men.
Travis Hunter, again, and no disrespect to because I like Travis Hunter. I think he has a legitimate shot for the Heisman. I really do. That's why I say split. And I don't think it will. I do overall, if I take my heart out of it and my biases, I do think Ashton Jeanty is going to get the Heisman just because of the name he's around, Barry Sanders. You think about how long that record's been, in 30-plus years.
Yeah.
When you're mentioned with somebody that did it at both levels, you're going to.
To me, I think Ashton Jeanty gets it, the Heisman nod if they win out. I would, but it doesn't really matter. It's whoever you side with. If you think Travis should win and he loses,
that's what we say. We don't think there's a wrong answer. But regardless of whoever wins, you're going to say the other guy got robbed. So, but again, I like Travis Hunter. What he's doing is phenomenal. He's elite on both sides of the ball, regardless of what people think.
Well, what do you think? I gave you mine on a scale 1 to 10 for Jeanty. What's Travis Hunter's on a scale 1 to 10 on the odds?
Taking all my biases at 70%. So, I know you gave Jeanty 80, an 8 out of 10. I give a 7 out of 10, personally. So, it's close. It's very neck and neck. It really is. But you also have to take the politics into this.
Yeah.
Boise State's in the college football playoffs. So, again, Travis Hunter, Shadur Sanders, and Primetime get them boys. Then we're having.
If they both make the playoffs, then it might change a little bit more because it's hard to. You can't when you look at Travis Hunter on both sides. It's just he oozes potential on both, and personally, I don't think he's hurt himself either way by playing both sides of the ball. I think he has a great work ethic.
Well, outside of last year when he took the cheapest, dirtiest shot you've seen in the Colorado State game that ended his season for the most part, he's been durable. He's not really gotten hurt. He's been available. So that's a big thing too. So, but that's where we lie. He's 80% Jeanty. I'm 70% Shedeur, and I would agree with him on Jeanty. I just think Jeanty has the nod right now because if you take your feelings out of it, and that's hard for me because I'm with Travis Hunter, but take your feelings out of it, Jeanty is the right choice at this moment. But if Colorado and them boys get there, and obviously Travis Hunter has a big say in that, he's a big part of that.
Well, I think if Ashton Jeanty can get Barry Sanders' rushing record, I think.
How far behind is he?
Well, the record's 2,600, and
he's
at about 2,000.
Yeah, so he's not going to.
He has 2 games, and he's averaging close to 200 yards a game.
Yeah,
and so he has 2 other season games left. That if he gets close to 200
yards, but you also got to think about it too. If he doesn't reach the record, you got to think about it. You think about it too. Some of the games he's been pulled out of the second half, didn't even get to play.
Well, he has, but they also take into factor the championship game.
Yes, they do.
For the
Yes,
Mountain West.
Yep.
That's a third. He has potentially 4 more games to eclipse Barry Sanders, and if he can eclipse Barry Sanders' rushing record, I think it's going to something that hasn't happened in almost 40 years. It's going to be really hard not
to overlook that.
To overlook something like that from the running back position that's been devalued over the years. But Travis Hunter is just so unique.
He's.
Where would you like to see? Obviously, so we both want Jeanty, but we think Jeanty's probably going to take win the Heisman when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Things fall proper. Things have to legitimately fall in line. If he doesn't get a record or Boise loses and don't make the playoffs and Colorado does, then
you know what's crazy?
Because
I feel like I know
where do you want Travis to play in the NFL? Do you want him to play corner or do you want him to play wide receiver? And if you want him to play both ways, then there's only one answer. If you think he can play both ways, then he has to play corner and sprinkle him in on offense.
Yeah, I do think him. Again,
it'll be harder in my opinion.
I think he's better as a corner. The talent, the ooze, he's better at corner because he does play wide receiver, so he kind of already knows where the fuck you're going to go, the route you're going. He knows the tendency. So I would say corner. And then, like you said, you sprinkle him at wide receiver. Yeah. Because, again, you go to I'm a corner. I know how you're going to play me. I know what you're thinking. I can beat you. Now, granted, grown man league, you're playing against people that are just as fast, just as strong, if not stronger, and as talented as you. But, again, you have that knowledge, and you're being coached by arguably one of the greatest cornerbacks in the National Football League in prime time, Deion motherfucking Sanders. So he's prime time. There's a reason why it was prime time.
I just think if he wants to be a wide receiver, if he
goes in as a wide receiver, I'd be a little disappointed. I would want you to go in as a corner / wide receiver sprinkled in. I don't want you as a wide receiver.
And just to me, if he goes in as a wide receiver, it'd be hard to get him in on the defensive side because you could think, well, put him on special downs. Well, he's not a big hitter.
No.
Like, he doesn't. His tackling is kind of atrocious, honestly. Like, his form is not very great. He tackles a lot with his head down. And
yes.
It's not a great form.
Things he'd have to work on, obviously. But
honestly, I think his calling card, as great as he is as corner, he's just electrifying, I think, more. He only weighs like 185 pounds.
Yeah.
So I think the NFL, he's 6'1". I think the NFL get him closer to 200 pounds. But I think you would see a rich man's like Devontae Smith.
I like that. I'm not going to disagree with you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to disagree with that. But like I said, that's our picks. Let us know what you think about that. Moving on here. Keeping this short and simple. The WNBA draft top 4 was announced. The Dallas Wings got the number 1 overall pick. Paige Beckers is considered widely as the number 1 overall pick. Paige Beckers, if you guys don't know, guard out of UConn, dealt with some injuries. She's had some injury problems, but she's phenomenal. Yeah. The Wings were 9-31 last year. They were 11th of the 12 teams. The LA Sparks got the 2nd overall pick. They were 8-32. They were dead last at number 12. The Chicago Sky got the number 3 overall pick. If you guys don't know, in last year's draft, Chicago had 2 top picks in the top 10. So they get the 3rd pick again. They were 13-27. They got a whole new bra coming in. And then the 4th overall pick was the Washington Mystics at 14 and 26. So, but the talk of the town is Dallas got the number 1 overall pick. It's going to be Paige Beckers. Because obviously Juju can't come out for another 2 years.
Well,
obviously,
she could. But.
Well, I don't think so. I think in for women, they have to go 3 or 4 years.
Well, it just makes the most sense.
So, but do you have any concerns for Paige? I mean, again, we're talking about a girl who...
I think her game, I mean, it's not like women's game.
You saw her game last year.
Well, it's not like her game, like women's game is overly physical, and I think her game is going to translate.
I just hope she stays healthy.
I like to see a full, healthy season for her, but I think her game is going to translate very smoothly.
Oh, yes.
For her to the next level.
Fair enough.
Even women's sports going from college to the WNBA is still a leap in competition.
But those are the top 4 picks. I'd be very curious outside of Dallas where the Sparks, Chicago, and Mystics go.
So what's your thoughts that the Mahomeses are in talks and in works with getting a WNBA team?
I'm here for it.
On Kansas, Missouri side, either side.
Patrick's been trying to get an NBA team here as well. Like
he's
very vocal about it. And
wanting that, but they're actually in talks though.
Yes, about expanding.
The same team that he partnered with to go in on Brittany Mahomes' women's soccer team.
Yeah.
The same team he used with to go in on the Royals will be the same team that will be using to try to bring a WNBA.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. You see how we support our college teams, and I'm talking about men and women. I'm talking all around. So I absolutely think KC would show out.
I think
it'd be new. It's a new toy. Like, ooh man, let's show.
We've had NBA teams.
Yes, we the Kansas City Kings back in that long time.
I don't know. It's getting my mind. But we've had NBA teams here, and they've left.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to say, well, a WNBA team, we would support it. I think we're at a new age now where I think that people would come out to shell out. We talk, we could go to an NBA team, to go to the NBA game, we got to go to OKC. That's the closest one. Yeah. Really. I mean, I think a lot of that has to do, though, with, the Kansas City Chiefs actually being good and getting that thirst to wanting to be there in that kind of environment that winning drives. Like the Royals this year went to the playoffs and gave the Yankees a hell of a run in the series.
Yes, we did.
Eventually fell short, but I think just the winning culture
has a lot to do with it too. Yeah.
I think
we would show out absolutely,
especially with the King.
People I think underestimate how much we would support our sports team. We've supported our Royals and think about how bad they've been and all the years our Chiefs struggled. We've always showed out. There's a reason why we
necessarily supported our Royals when they've been bad, but when they're good, it's a sellout.
Yes.
But the Chiefs though, hands down, everybody comes out and supports, especially since the Rams left.
Hopefully Patrick Mahomes and his team can pull it off. I would totally be here for it. I mean, that would be amazing.
I'd go to a WNBA game if it was here.
I mean,
I didn't necessarily want
to. I would definitely support.
But if it was here,
I would definitely support them. But man, could you imagine me seeing able the stars come to town like that?
I would have signed my boobie. I would have Paige Becker sign my boobie.
I would have Caitlin Clark sign me. Sign me.
Did you do that too?
Nah, I don't know. I don't know, dog. Bitty bitty.
Right under your nipple, right? No.
70-30. 70-30.
I mean, you had opportunity.
Man, you gotta let it go, dog.
You had opportunity to, get Shaw's autograph and choke.
I did. I froze like a deer in motherfucking headlights, bro. I did.
Just because y'all ran away before I got, my
I forgot the brochure, and it is, until next time. Shaw, I'm coming for that. Shaw, I'm coming for that autograph
next. If you ever saw LeBron live, how do you go,
Bro, I'll understand. I get butters. I hand him everything, bro. Sign it all, dog. The draws included, bro. Sign it all.
Bron, he wants your stinky ass jaws, dog. They don't want.
Bro, I don't care what I got, bro. Sign it, dog. Sign my phone. Sign my kid. Tanner's. Sign my Tanner. Sign my Make-A-Wish kid, please. Shout out to Tanner, dog. Just sign it, dog.
I'd start limping.
I'd pull a chair out of stands. Can you sign this for me, dog?
But yet you told Shaw no.
I didn't tell Shaw.
You were there. You were right there.
But yeah, speaking of the NBA, we got a little bit of turmoil going on here with our Philadelphia 76ers. If you guys don't know and are unaware, the 76ers right now are 2-12. Not good. They are on a 5-game losing streak. Joel Embiid's missed a lot of the year dealing with the knee injury that I guess he's been dealing with since the Olympics, I guess.
But yeah,
Paul George hyperextended his knee in the last preseason game. He finally came back. He has now re-injured his knee again in their last game. Tyrese Maxey started out, hurt his hamstring, so they've dealt with an injury. But they had a team meeting, and Tyrese Maxey called out Joel Embiid, saying that he needs to hold himself more accountable because he's late for everything, basically. Like, that is...
Well,
woo!
first, what's your thoughts that Joel came out and said whoever leaked that is...
because
he used very...
He's not wrong.
language.
Whoever leaked it, I mean, it's fucked. But it also...
He said it was a 30-second meeting.
I don't think that was no 30-second meeting,
wasn't
dog.
a very, like, he didn't take it offensive. He took it in stride, and he was like, yeah, you're right. But he was like, whoever put this out there and leaked that is...
a bitch.
Yeah, okay, yeah. He's a bitch.
This is YouTube. They're okay with it.
Okay, well, I was just trying to be gentle about it. But, yes, called him a bitch. But also said that he doesn't know how the 76ers sometimes are trying to use him. I'm like, well, you got to be available to be used.
Bro, we've been trusting the process for a while
The process is over. Like, they all gone. Like, we saw Benson airball in the skyhook. So, like, the process is gone. And, I mean, they're 2-12. And it's not, I mean, it's early this season. It's a very long season for the NBA. So, anything can happen. They're probably going to be a play-in
yeah,
team.
they're at this moment looking like a play-in team if they can get it together.
But anything can happen. I mean, look at it. It's not like they're really that far off of the middle of the pack.
No,
like
but
6 wins.
Again, but what do you?
6-9.
You know, a lot of people, kudos to Tyrese Maxey for stepping up. I do.
Well, he is the
he got paid.
Guy. He got paid, so he got paid. He got his money. So did PG, but PG is the new guy. Paul George, he's the new guy there. But it also came out though that he didn't want Paul George. He wanted them to go get his man Jimmy.
Yeah.
Out of Miami.
Yeah. So that
rubbed Joel the wrong way. And don't get me wrong. I love Jimmy Butler and his demeanor and his
at times
and his. Well, like his antics or his weird hair or whatever he does, that's outside the court. When he's on the court and he's in between those and between the lines, that's what you want. And that's what Joel I think is stuck on a Jimmy of like 5 years ago.
Yeah,
4 years ago.
He's not that.
Paul
Jimmy.
George is a way better version of what you need to try to get you over the hump.
He's a more Jimmy at times can explode, but not like Paul George can.
Jimmy's not a bucket.
No,
Jimmy. I mean, he can be from time like in when we had COVID in the bubble. Jimmy was Jimmy buckets. Like, I mean, that's when Jimmy became really Jimmy, honestly. But that's tough that that report also comes out that he didn't really Paul George was kind of the second choice. He was not his first
that's
choice.
something if I'm Joel Embiid I wouldn't have aired out. That makes you a bitch a little bit.
It kind of looks like Joel probably need to strike his circle a little bit.
Yeah,
like who's leaking all this information out to the media?
If I'm Joel, and Shaq said this, right before this meeting came out, that was talked about. Joel Embiid and the 76ers won't win a championship unless Embiid changes his demeanor and attitude. And then you hear about this meeting about Embiid being always late to things. That doesn't really help, bro. You're why are you late to everything? A lot of people, and Stephen A said this on First Take, ever since Embiid got paid, he's changed. Yeah. So that's also not a good look either. And I hate to break this to you again. I just want the world to understand. I'm not comparing these guys. But look at the Kobe and Shaq. Granted, they won championships. But when Kobe started to ascend, Shaq was the odd man out. Tyrese Maxey, had one great year. Could you see a similar thing where, like, Embiid's late, lazy, injury-prone, starting to lose the city of Philadelphia, your star run mate that you need to be successful because you've been on record saying any dominant big man's going to need a dominant guard. Tyrese Maxey is starting to come into his own.
Yeah.
I hate to break it to you, they're going to choose the guard over the big man. He's more reliable. He's more there.
One, I don't like the comparison.
No,
Okay,
but I'm using the breakup.
As long as you said that this is not a comparison you're trying to make. 'Cause one, Joel's nothing close to what Shaq.
No, I'm saying as the breakup, like the buddy, like this is a start of like, oh my God, it's cracking. Even though Jimmy said
that's, I get what you're saying because it's not same, very similar. Or same. But yes, I agree. I think what you're getting at, I agree that the 76ers will choose the younger, healthier, explosive, untapped, hasn't hit his ceiling yet potential, and Tyrese.
Because Joel Embiid is who Joel Embiid is. You know what he is.
I mean, if they don't make a push at all closer at the playoffs this year, I think you could definitely see Joel on the move this year, being traded.
Yeah,
absolutely, and building around Tyrese and Paul George.
Yeah,
and building the nucleus around that because Paul George is a hellaciously great second star. He ain't a dude. He was a dude a little bit. He was a dude for the Pacers, but he's not that guy. But he'll be a great second option as long as you don't have to carry the load. And Max can carry the load, in my opinion.
Yeah,
as long as they build around him and get him like a stretch big.
Yeah.
That we have kind of in the nowadays. Obviously, like the Lopez's like the Brook Lopez kind of comes to mind.
Someone like that, yeah.
Somebody kind of like that. They can hold down the paint and can keep it spread because he's electrifying and attacking the rim. Tyrese is.
Yeah. You do have some other breaking news that broke today. Go ahead and let's.
For the NBA, so we got some change to the All-Star game in 2025. So we'll have a 4-team tournament style. In 2025 NBA All-Star Game is expected to work out. There'll be 2 semifinal games, up the first one to 40, so kind of how it works now. The first team to 100 and something.
Yeah,
will advance. And the final game will be to 25 points. It'd be a quick burst competition, pick-up ball type of ordeal. So what will happen is you would have, which is also cool. So you have the rising star teams.
Yep. So you have the rising stars in there.
So the up-and-coming young stars. That nobody watches that game. I'm sorry, nobody does. But you'll have them. They'll play because you have the stars and then the rising stars. They'll play, and then the winner of those will then face the winners out of the 2 squad. That will be 3 8 teams, and then the rising stars.
Yep.
And
I'm here for it. I like the change. I like the change.
It does. It brings.
Be curious to see what it looks like. It's different.
Well, there's a lot more competition because you have the older guys that are like, well, I'm not going to let this young dude show me up.
Yeah, you can't let the young dude show you up.
There's some money out there. There got to be some money.
Yeah, there's
got to be some money for winning it all or a trophy or obviously you want the All-Star trophy.
Yeah,
you can only get that if you're in the game.
Got to have that Kobe trophy. You have to have that Kobe.
I think that's a step in the right direction.
And then there was another piece of interesting news that came out that we need to talk about. Yes, the TNT ESP. Yes. How do you feel about this? Brandon's going to read this to you, and we're going to talk about this.
So, a landmark sports media trade. I didn't know the media did this kind of stuff. So, ESPN receives inside the NBA that is on TNT, but this is TNT's last year having exclusive rights to NBA. But TNT then receives 13 Big 12 football games and 15 Big 12 basketball games. So there is no money being exchanged. It's just ESPN gets the rights, or the landmark, they get the rights to inside the NBA guys, a la, Shaq and
Kenny, Charles,
Barkley,
Ernie Johnson. So
and the TNT gets Big 12 football and basketball.
So
it seems like.
What are your thoughts on that?
I didn't know they could do that. I personally didn't know you could just
trade. Yeah, when I saw that come out, I was like, "Ooh, that's interesting." Like, it's great that inside the NBA.
I guess like they buy the rights to air those games, so you get like the views, and the network gets the views, so you get the money that way, the exposure. So I guess they feel, 13 football games and 15 basketball games from the Big 12, nonetheless.
Yeah,
equals out the value of what those guys bring to inside the NBA. I'm just glad those guys potentially as you know, Shaq is, I believe, is an odd man out.
Yeah, he's still waiting on a contract, and it's not going to work if you don't have Shaq. I'm sorry.
No,
those guys won't go.
Those guys won't go, so you just end up with the name of inside the NBA.
And you put new people on there. It's just not. Unfortunately,
it's just not them. Like everybody likes Barkley and Shaq going at it.
Ernie Johnson, Kenny running the ball. Like, bro, you tune into that shit, dude. You probably tune into that more than you actually turn into your first things first take, get up. Like, you tune into fucking inside the NBA, bro. It's fucking hilarious.
It is.
So,
I absolutely.
But I am happy that it's staying in. ESPN, whoever the fuck, get Shaq a contract because he's got to be a part of it. Last thing I want to touch on, because this is one of your favorite coaches to talk about. He's your favorite coach to talk about, guys. You have no idea how much he loves to talk about this coach. How much longer till the Bucks fire your favorite coach, Doc Rivers? Doc Rivers, your favorite coach that won that championship back in 2008 with, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, KG, Rajon Rondo. That Doc Rivers,
I think
with the Celtics?
I feel like you left somebody out, probably.
Maybe, but, it's your favorite coach, Doc Rivers. Guys, he loves Doc Rivers.
Oh, he's a great coach. He's probably the best coach ever coach in the NBA. I mean, he's done so much.
Think about it.
Titles, right?
The Bucks fired Adrian Griffin last season when he was 30-13 to bring in Doc, because Doc, your favorite coach that you, obviously, vouched for the Milwaukee Bucks, right?
Yeah.
You gave your...
Yeah.
But all seriousness,
Griffin was being supervised, I guess we'll call it,
by Doc,
and then you fire him because your stars aren't necessarily liking being yelled at.
He told them, "I need you to sacrifice more." And apparently that. But the Milwaukee Bucks right now are 6-9. They are on a 2-game win streak, my guy. They're woo.
Considering it took a game winner that shouldn't have counted.
Well, Giannis did step out.
Well, he didn't only stepped out. More, he was standing out.
Yeah. Well. But again, can the Bucks afford 4 coaches on the payroll?
Apparently.
I'll coach.
I'll do it.
I'll do it.
Whatever Giannis wants is what we're doing. Whatever Giannis and Dame wants, what we're doing. When Giannis and Dame, I'm putting the dark thing aside real quick. When they got Dame, I was like, that's a pairing. Now it's going to work. You have Giannis.
The pick and roll would be nasty.
And Dame, and then unfortunately I don't know. They haven't necessarily been able to stay healthy. I think they gelled. I think those two gel well, but Chris Middleton
is still trying to come back from double ankle surgery in the offseason.
Hasn't been right really since their championship run. He's been banged up, unfortunately.
Is banged up the right word?
Yeah, he's injured, hurt. What do you want me to use?
Yeah.
Injury prone?
Yeah,
because very much injury prone. But you bring Doc.
How much longer until Doc's gone? Or is he finished out the season and Milwaukee can't afford to fire him?
I don't. Like you said, how many coaches?
I need you to know, how much longer until your favorite coach is fired? I need you to tell J&B unsupervised, the world that could potentially be watching this, how much longer does Doc got? Does he got long?
Doc ain't gonna get fired. Doc wanna retire.
Heard it here first from Brandon. He's gonna have to retire, guys.
He's gonna. If Giannis already came out with his displeasure with how everything's been going, they've called around the whole league trying to make moves, but they don't have any assets after obviously requiring Dame. Dame was supposed to be that missing piece, and it
did suck that last year that Giannis did get hurt right there at the end.
Giannis did get hurt, but so was Chris Middleton.
Yeah, Chris Middleton. But we'll have to stay tuned on the Doc thing and see how this turns out.
Doc is not a good coach. No, but Doc is not a good coach. He's not. He's living off of one championship.
He's living off your favorite championship in 2008.
No, I would have preferred the Lakers would have won that.
Well, yeah.
But
they got to.
He's living off.
They got to 2 finals and they went 1-1. They won 1 and lost.
He's never been back, and he's had talented rosters.
Think about the Lob City Clippers,
nothing. Bagels. He had the Nets. Now, granted, but nothing, and it's just tough. He's one.
In early days, had Orlando, had T-Mac, nothing.
He's living off one. He got lucky. He just got lucky, okay? Point blank. Same way that the Clippers' current head coach.
Ty Lue got 1 championship.
Kind of living off that one chip.
That LeBron and Kyrie.
But it's really not the same, because I think Ty Lue's a great coach, It's just unfortunately that Kawhi never really wants to play, so you don't actually. It's hard to fill out a roster when you're giving so much money to one guy.
Yeah. Speaking of one guy in the NBA, we're not going to harp on this too long. But if I ever had the ability to sit down and interview one NBA player and ask him what the fuck happened to you, Ben Simmons. Dog, what happened to you? Who hurt you? Did Trae Young really fuck you up that bad? Like, I gotta know, bro. Like, that has got to be the biggest fall off you've ever motherfucking seen.
I think it was Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers berated him in the media.
Bro, like...
Somebody, like... Is like
Doc,
as
how does Ben Simmons go from the trajectory he was on to, like... Bro, honestly, I think you could lock down Ben Simmons right now, dog. Like...
Oh, no. The dude's like 7 feet tall. Like, come on now. The dude's just going to...
Touch his back. Well, forearm to the back, dog. He might fall down.
Well, you're not wrong. I mean, I'd punch him.
He hit you with that. But it's just like, in all seriousness, bro, like, Ben, what happened, dog? Like, what happened?
All collapsed in the playoffs with Doc there.
Against Atlanta.
76ers. But he was with the 76ers with that talent, with Ben, with Tobias Harris.
So you blame Doc for that, too?
Yes.
Okay, fair
Doc
enough.
broke him in the media.
He did.
And, like, you know, there's the famous, I have the dunk, I pass it off because I don't want to go foul and go to the line. And that's on coaching again. That's on development because, again, you see him, and when he's practicing in the offseason, shooting threes, he's hitting jumpers.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And I'm like, so you can do all of this, but when it comes to the game, all of a sudden your game just shrinks.
But to get to our final topic of the night here on the podcast, our NFL talk. So let's start with the hottest thing right now. Obviously, the Buffalo Bills Kansas City Chiefs game.
Yeah.
The Buffalo Bills ended our win streak, and I'll tell you this: I'm honestly glad the win streak's over because that is not our ultimate goal. Our ultimate goal is to win our third Super Bowl in a row. Like I'm not here for the undefeated season. I don't care for it. I want to win a third Super Bowl. Now, talking about the game, there were some calls absolutely missed. I get what a lot of people are saying. Chiefs got the refs in their pocket. I have to ask you this, though. If we have the refs in our pocket, we didn't win.
Yeah.
So we can't have the refs in our pocket.
I think...
It was a good game. And this is what I need people to understand.
Was it?
Buffalo gave everything up front. They showed you everything.
Was it a good game, though? Did the Chiefs play, in your opinion?
No, we did not play our best game. Buffalo played their best game. We did not play our best game.
We still really only...
Really, it was just a 2-point game. I know the scoreboard...
We lost by 9.
Yeah, but scoreboard don't show that because...
we lost by 9, but really we lost by a score. We lost by 2. We lost by a touchdown. I would have said we lost by a touchdown to make it all even. We lost by a touchdown to an all assets. Special teams this time they did their job. Our Butker's out for 4 weeks with a meniscus. He has meniscus.
Isaiah's still coming back,
but we are very hampered offensively still. But offensively, we're not there. We don't have the weapons. We're still trying to get D-Hop up to speed. They took away Travis.
Hollywood's probably coming back
I really
sooner.
Don't know why we didn't run Kareem more. But defensively, it was probably the worst game yet to date this year. We gave up all of the records and the consecutive streaks came to an end.
But I'm asking you this though: do you also look at it this way too? Look a little bit beyond the game. Spags. Also, I feel like even though we lost the game and it wasn't our best defensive game, it was also a great learning tool to see what Buffalo would do in certain situations without the quarterback spy, without the cover 2 being where it was supposed to be, the zone being played. It was more of a okay, cool. You changed up your game a little bit. We had you show it. Now
you kind of sound like the Bengals saying, "Well, we're built to beat the Chiefs." And where are they at?
Well, they
exactly kind of my point. Honestly, I'm not expecting to see Buffalo again this year. I'm just not. I don't think Buffalo defense in general, I don't trust. If we have our full plethora of weapons, take a lot of the guys that aren't coming back. We had Isaiah, we had Hollywood, who's coming back at some. Hollywood's projected to be his window to be opened up in about 2 weeks, the 21-day window.
Yes.
So I don't think Buffalo's defense is going to be able to stop us, and I
Again.
expect our run defense completely shut them down.
Yes.
So like, that part of our game is oddly really great, but the intermediate passing, not so much. But I think Buffalo they had their best game of the year, and we had our worst game, and we still only lost by really a score.
And again, I'm not taking nothing away from Buffalo. I'm not. Because you still have to go out there and win.
You still have to play. You have to play who's on your schedule.
Buffalo is 9-2. But I look at your division, the AFC East. You kind of got lucky. Tua got hurt.
Yeah.
They have not been able to get back on track. They're 4-6. The Jets completely fumbled all expectations
no one
that
honestly could say they saw that coming.
They're 3-8, and then New England 3-8. So
honestly, I didn't expect 3-8 from the Patriots with the new staff and the rookie. But kudos. But back on the Bills again. Congratulations. Honestly, I'm glad we lost to the Bills. It clearly has upsetted our players, and I think it really just kind of honed them back in.
Yeah, you always need
really
a wake-up call. Trying to
humbled us because, again, they got us in the regular season, knowing that the high potential we could see them, and knowing that we only have half a game on them. But who have the Bills really faced up to this point that they've beat? Just us. And they lost to the Ravens. They got mollywopped. And they lost to the Cardinals in a close one.
Yeah, it's been.
And so if you move down to the AFC West, the Chiefs are 9-1. Shout out to the Chargers at 7-3. The Broncos, who mollywopped the Falcons.
Well,
they're 6-5, and the Raiders 2-8.
So to be fair, their week one Buffalo they beat the Arizona 34-28, barely. Then you played Miami 31-10.
Mollywop.
You played Jacksonville 47-10. Played Baltimore. You got fucking mollywopped. You played Houston. You lost by 3. Played the Jets. Barely won by 3. You beat Tennessee.
Seahawks is
You beat the Seahawks. Seahawks fumbled that game. No, but you beat. Then you barely beat the Dolphins when Tua came back, 30-27. Beat the Colts by 10, and then you beat us basically by a touchdown. And then you have a bye, and then they finish out 49ers. That's going to be tough.
Ouch.
The Rams.
Ouch.
Detroit.
Ouch.
Okay, then New England, the Jets, New England. So, like, you have a 3 stretch. Like, ouch.
Yeah.
Like,
they're going to win their division by no means. Like I said, I mean, the Dolphins are 4-6. They're 5 games back. They can't catch them. They have a 2-game. They've already beat the Dolphins twice. They can't catch them.
Yeah.
And I don't see the Bills losing to the Patriots twice, and I don't see them losing to the Jets.
So,
but the next 3 games, though, for the Buffalo is very tough coming out of their bye week. They definitely have to at least go 1-2, and then they'll be fine.
Yep.
And that's at the worst case scenario. They'll probably end up going probably 2-1 because, again, I'm on the hype train for Buffalo. Like, I was sitting here pounding the table for Buffalo. Even though I'm a Chiefs fan, I'm sitting there, Josh Allen. I thought he still deserves a lot more credit for the MVP case for the season he's having.
He definitely gets disrespected when it comes to the MVP case. So I don't know why people up in the upper media, when it comes to the National Football League, have it out for Josh Allen. I really don't know what the hate is. Again, I mean this with all due respect. We like Lamar Jackson. But the NFL overglorifies Lamar Jackson. Let me put this in terms. Lamar Jackson is the Jason Tatum. Like, the media's trying to force that.
Yeah.
Trying to force that. Josh Allen's that dude's like, dude, like, I'm...
It's just because... I don't know why we have Joe Burrow, but... Joe Burrow, if the Bengals are doing...
Dude, the Bengals had a record, MVP. He's number 1 in yards, number 1 in touchdown, passer rating. Real quick, I want to touch on a couple things before we, again, wrap this up. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 2-9. Yep. Dog shit. Water. Yep. Trey Lance is getting paid for shit that he did in college. Now that we got that out of the way.
No. Not Trey Lance.
Oh, sorry. Trevor Lawrence. My bad, dog. God, dude. He's so bad in Jacksonville, I forgot who the fuck he was. Trevor Lawrence is getting paid off shit that he did at Clemson. Now that we got that out of the way, it is being rumored. A lot of reports coming out. A lot of changes coming in Jacksonville at the end of the season. And Bill Belichick has his eye on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Is that a good fit? Can he bring the Patriots way to the Jacksonville Jaguars? I don't think he can. It's tough.
I like the potential he could do for the defense, but offensively,
I look at Trey.
Offensively, I just don't know. Again, it's not Trey. It's
Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if he can handle the scrutiny that comes behind Bill Belichick being your coach.
I think he could. I think he'd be able to manage. I think he could. I think it'd be good for him. But I also think we've seen the best out of him. You're telling me Doug Peterson has done that bad of a job with him for 2 years that he wasn't able to get more out of him?
Well, he was able to get something. And like we said, we've talked about this before. Previous episodes, go back and see. We've said, man, we thought Jacksonville was about to
ascending,
and then it fell the fuck off quicker. It fell off quick as shit.
I don't want to see him there because I don't think that's necessarily a spot where he could chase. Because I think he's at this point still trying to chase. I think he wants one more. Yeah. Because Tom got one, so I think he probably wants one more because he is a lot older in the tooth. He's a lot older, but I don't necessarily think that's the spot for me for him. But if he goes there, that defense is going to be scary. That defense got a lot of talent.
Also think about this too. Jacksonville Jaguars have had the number 1 overall pick 3 of the last 5 years, and potentially have another number 1 overall pick this coming NFL draft.
I would say they could draft a quarterback, but they just paid Trevor. So,
do you think Travis Hunter?
I mean,
if Jacksonville has the number 1 overall pick, they're not taking a quarterback.
If they had Bill Belichick, that'd be against his mold to take a offensive talent that high.
Fair. So let's see.
If I'm the Jags, if I had the number 1 pick, I'd trade out.
Trade out and try to get more. Especially if Bill Belichick's there, yeah. Another team I want to touch on real quick that we talked about earlier in our program here, Cincinnati Bengals. Talking about Joe Burrow and then boys. Yes, we see them at where they're at what 4-7. And
out of the AFC North, you get the Steelers at 8-2 behind Russell Wilson right now. The Ravens at 7-4, who just lost to the Steelers, who couldn't score a touchdown, but the Ravens still lost. Bengals 4-7, and the lonely Deshaun Watson Browns. I mean, not Brown. He's hurt.
Jameis Winston now.
Jameis Winston now's the quarterback at 2-8.
But staying on Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow got his money.
He did.
It will kick in this upcoming next season. He'll get the chunk of it. Jamar Chase wants to be $44 million above. Well, that was the rumored number. We don't know, but he wants to be highest paid. He wants more than Jetta's.
He wants more than $35 million a year.
So
average, which is what Jetta has.
Think about that right there in totality. Let's go over some of the guys that they've lost. Jesse Bates.
Yeah.
That's a tough loss. Joe Mixon. Having a dude that you
let him go / traded him to the Texans.
He took, remember the year before he left, he took less money.
Yeah. And you see how the running back room looks down.
They've paid a lot of money on their offensive line that is not good. Henderson, who's the sack leader, reportedly requested a trade in the offseason leading up to the season because he wants paid. They can't. Are the Bengals financially screwed long term because of Burrow not wanting to reconstruct, give money back? Jamar Chase wanted the money. He's got. We're not even talking about T. Higgins, who was franchise tag. He's gone. Tyler Boyd gone.
Joe Burrow hasn't really even got the money. He really hasn't even got. He hasn't even. His money hasn't really even kicked in. They deferred it a little bit later down the road to pay out his actual guaranteed his bonuses.
But financially,
that is financially. They pushed that kind of farther down the road, and yes,
they're screwed.
They're absolutely caps. They're the Cowboys.
Think about the talent that they've walked.
Cowboys of the AFC. They pay Jamar Chase that kind of money, and instead they turn around and pay Trey Hendrickson somehow. I don't think they will, but say
no, I don't think they can.
They could, but say they do. They're legitimately the Cowboys of the AFC. Yeah. Because that's what the Cowboys already have done. They paid Dak. They paid CD. They have no choice but to pay Micah. Or, they could move him. Yeah. But let's say the Bengals pay all three, or the other two. You have no more money.
It's already been reported that T. Higgins is leaving in the offseason.
Well, he's gone. He's franchise tagged, and he's hurt a lot, and he don't care. They're 4-7. He's just trying to get to the end.
He got his guarantee money from the the franchise tag. So
he's gone. So that opens up like the offense is going to be good, but as you have seen in early Mahomes years, just because your offense is prolific does not mean you're going to win games. And you're finding out that the hard way. You had a great defense, and instead of being able to retain those young guys going into their prime, you let them walk because you're going to have to pay Joe, you have to pay Jamar, and you invested all this money in the O-line that did not work. And they swung and they missed large on the O-line.
Definitely going to be paying attention to the Bengals in the offseason. But NFL season's heating up. Like I said, we're almost to the playoffs there, too. We're getting to that crucial stretch of the final games, finishing up a lot of people's bye weeks. So
there is something I would like to
Go for it.
The Cowboys.
Okay.
Who we haven't really talked about a whole lot because they get plenty of media attention and their stadium falling apart. But it is out there on ESPN that Deion Sanders
not coming to the NFL.
Deion Sanders I don't know. Has come out and said that he has no interest in coming to the NFL.
But Michael Irvin gets on and says, source close,
to him,
he's coming. I'm like, he's not.
That he could go be the Cowboys head coach if they draft his boy, Shadir
Sanders, which would make sense.
Dak. So again, that'd be a worse cap hit than Russell Wilson on the Broncos.
Yeah.
So that's not happening. Nor
it's great to have dreams, hopes, live in fantasy land, candy land, but it's not happening. Like
remove Shadir to the Cowboys. Does Deion go to the Cowboys or any franchise?
Not if Deion's going anywhere, he's going to SEC. The SEC. That he'll go.
Oh, you think he's going like if he would
leave Colorado, he's staying in college, but he's going bigger in college. He's going to go to a big.
Oh no!
But outside of that, he's not coming to the National Football League.
I don't think so at all. Do I think he would actually leave Colorado for another program? No,
I'm saying like if he was to ever leave Colorado, it's staying in college. He's just going somewhere else.
I don't think.
But he's never going to the NFL. He's made that very clear. Deion will swing on a goddamn player, bro. Let's keep it 100.
I think he likes the molding of the kids.
He's made that very clear.
The kids. I think maybe at some point in his coaching career he might make that jump.
Like say that like Shador's somewhere and they're on the fringe of being there and they need a coach and like son reaches out to dad. Let's go do this.
I don't know because he's even made it clear that he isn't following his boys. He's a leader, and I mean like. If Deion told me to jump
can't tell me like if you're Shador and I'm Deion and you're with a team into your career, you're obviously now a veteran. Like, Dad, we're a coach away. Let's do it. Let's ride.
But who's really developed? It's weird because he's a QB, but who's really developed him though? Because he's a great quarterback.
Tom. Shador's been with Tom.
Okay, so Tom has developed him. So it's not like he needs his dad there, and I just don't. I don't really foresee that happening because Deion doesn't.
It's really gonna hurt me because I love Shador Sanders, and I swear to God, if he ends up with the Raiders, it's like Bo Nix with the Broncos, dog. I loved you in college, dog.
He's out there every time the Raiders lose. He's like he's like oh like yay. But I just don't ever see him leaving. I don't see him actually ever leaving Colorado though either, because he's prime time, and then once you leave that spot, like me, you're still prime time. But like the hate, I think he loves the hate.
No, you got to be embrace it because that means you're doing something right.
He feels off the hate,
but also
I think
he gets
there for that.
His players also get hated on too because of Deion, and Deion's trying to be like, if you want to hate me, cool, but give my guys the credit they deserve.
Yeah.
And so, people can say all they want about Deion Sanders. Go look at the resume. Look what Jackson State was before he took it over, his first year to their second year. Same thing with Colorado. Colorado was a fucking joke. You didn't even know where Colorado was. You probably never even turned on a Colorado game.
You're not wrong. I did.
1-11, dog. Were you? I think you go get 11 dudes and probably beat the shit out of that Colorado team. Come on now.
You're not wrong.
He takes over year one, a lot of buzz. Fell short, obviously, but you started out strong. This year, boom, you came out, boy. Like, Just look at the resume.
They're first in sacks in the Big 12.
Like, come on now.
What's Warren Sapp there? And the very last thing, Bryce Underwood,
Oh, yes.
ESPN's #1 overall recruit in the class of 2025, is flipping his commitment to Michigan Wolverines. He told school
He took the money.
It's a big day
He took the money
for Michigan.
So if you guys don't know, Bryce Underwood is the #1 quarterback. He was verbally committed to LSU. Michigan came in and offered this man 4 years, $10.5 million to be the Michigan quarterback. It was reported that he turned it down. Now, not so much. Probably talked to mommy and daddy. Mommy and daddy said, boy, you better take that motherfucking money, boy.
I'm just waiting to see how much money actually they bumped it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they bumped it, but I'm saying they probably bumped that money,
Yeah,
that
they
NIL
had
money
to.
up a little
So-
bit more to sneak him out
But,
of LSU.
yeah, I just know I played in the wrong era, dog.
And pretty fucking much.
I played in the wrong era, dog.
And the last note, since we've ran down the rest, we might as well finish the standings here. We went from the AFC North, we hit the AFC South. The Texans, 7-4. Colts are 5-6. Titans are 2-8. Jags 2-9. I think we all agree the Texans are going to probably win that division. And then we'll jump over to the National Football League, the NFC. Eagles 8-2, Commanders 7-4, Cowboys 3-7, and the Giants 2-8.
Now, real quick on the Giants, the Daniel Jones era is over. He is now the 4th-string quarterback, and he's taking practice at BB. So safety. Sorry. So
the Eagles did beat the Commanders in a semi kind of convincing way. How you would beat a rookie QB. In the NFC West, you got the Cardinals at 6-4, Rams, Seahawks, Niners.
Just like you thought.
5-5.
Just like you thought it would be.
The NFC would play out. That's always kind of a tough division. I would not pay the Cardinals there.
I would say the NFC North probably best division in football right now.
Lions 9-1, Vikings 8-2, Packers 7-3 with honestly kind of a banged up Jordan Love all year, and then the Bears with Caleb Williams at 4-6. I mean, if you take all the hype away, like that's probably kind of about right. But the Bears have fired their OC. And it looked decent this last week, but again, there's a lot of question marks there. And then coming into the NFC South, Falcons 6-5, Bucks are now 4-6, Saints 4-7, and then the Carolina Panthers 3-7. That's kind of like the dog water.
The NFC,
the Falcons have kind of been a disappointment with Kirk Cousins and all those weapons. I thought
Kirk O'Chains ain't been Kirk O'Chains.
I just kind of thought he's going to be able to elevate all those weapons there and really unlock Kyle Pitts. And
instead he locked him up and threw away the fucking key.
He strapped in himself.
But that is it for today on JB Unsupervised. Make sure you tune into us next week. Hit that subscribe button. We'll be bringing you all the action next week. Have a good weekend.